So Kanye West apologized for all of the antics over the last couple of years, but specifically a lot of the anti-Semitic things that he was doing and saying. Like, I mean, we all know the song. Do I need to play it? You know the song. But I wanted to cover this. I apologize for any background noise. I live with a baby. But I wanted to talk about this. I've been a Kanye fan for forever. As long as I can remember, I've been a Kanye fan. And I found this apology to be interesting. Especially if it was actually written by him. So I want to just read some of this. It's called To Those I've Hurt. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to my right frontal lobe of my brain. It's crazy that he's talking about that accident. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. And he goes on to talk about bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind, but convinced you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. And that line right there, I just found really interesting because it shows a level of self-awareness and accountability that I haven't, remembered hearing from Kanye in a really long time. Yay. He goes on to talk more about, the state he found himself in and how it led him to say things. I mean, he outright said here, I am not a Nazi or anti-Semite. I don't know if I said that wrong. I love Jewish people, to the black community, which held me down through all the highs and lows and the darkest of times. The black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I am so sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2024, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore, which, damn, that's just raw and real if it's coming from him. Having bipolar disorder is a notable state of constant mental illness. When you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you are not in an episode, you are completely normal, and that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I have found comfort in Reddit forums of all places, and that does make me think Kanye wrote this. He's always online. Different people speaking different manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I've read their stories and realized I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. My words as a leader in this community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art. This album's on the way. Friday. Really interesting. Music, clothing, design, and other ideas to help the world. I am not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today to simply ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. With love. Yay. It's really, really well written and put together apology, even though some of it does give me the hints of ChatGPT or, someone else with an English degree that wrote this. I'm not saying that he couldn't have wrote it, but it just, I don't know, not used to hearing him speak like this, honestly. But honestly, as just from my perspective as a fan, it really does hit hard. It absolutely does not excuse the things that he's done. I mean, a certain part of me wants to take this, or doesn't want to, but does take this with a grain of salt, because it's hard to walk back the things that he's done. You can't walk that stuff back. I mean, need I say more of the song? It's not just the song, it's everything associated with the song. But for what the apology is, and if it is sincere, and if he does try to be positive and work on himself and find himself again within his music, and it would take years and years and years and years and years and years for him to really gain, I feel like, any rational person's trust again. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel for him. Who knows? I hope so. The state that he has been in for the last couple years is honestly just, it's been kind of hard to watch as a fan. I definitely lost interest. I haven't really listened to his music in a long time, like any of his new stuff, Bully era music, none of it. Vultures too, or any of that stuff. I just hope that, the guy can find his way. He does have influence, and I've been a big fan for a long time, and I would love to see a redemption. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Will Kanye have a redemption arc? Time will tell. Thanks for watching. Much love to all y'all. Mental illness is hard. Please talk to someone if you are struggling. You're loved.